Welcome again to another edition of Biro Sports Talk. As always, I am your host, Biro, and like I do with every Biro Sports Talk show, I will be sharing this video over Facebook. If you are new, what can I say? I've been trying to get everything shared. Let's get it shared there. I'll try to get some more things, more pages involved. Because, I like sharing my video. I like trying to grow this audience. Now, if you are on Twitch, fear not. I will be heading over on Twitch to double check the chat. I'm not over there yet. Why? Because I'm in the middle of sharing the video. Because, that's kind of what you have to do to promote yourself, sadly. So, we'll do this, and this will probably not. That's not what I want. Of course not. Of course not. So weird. It really didn't want to let me do. I had it figured out last week how to share like I used to share, and for some reason now it doesn't want to share. So, we'll figure it out after the show. I really do appreciate anyone who's watching this on any of the platforms we got. Excuse me, we got Facebook, we got YouTube, and we got Twitch. Perfect. Everything is set up the way it needed to be. So, back to my live stream. Let's switch over there. Just make sure. Don't like audio. I don't like listening to myself. But no one truly likes listening to themselves. So, we are live. One more person. Here we go. And boom, here we are. We are live. Now, sports are back, guys. I mean, sports will be back, buddy. I'm getting a little Letterkenny up in here with my speech. But, as I was saying, sports are back. We actually have stuff to talk about. We have a lot of things. There we go. All right. Where to start? I mean, college football are figuring things out right now. They're trying to pinpoint everything, trying to make sure there's extra days to make up days. It's very interesting, though. And today at, I want to say it was 4 o'clock, was the NFL holdout. The opt-out, deadline. That was today. A total of 66 players opted to sit out this year. This is a very fascinating answer because the team hit the hardest were the Patriots. They were hit with the most. Players. Now, I'm trying to get a list. Is what I was trying to get. Here we go. Here's a list. So you got Sean Coleman. He's a no-name tackle for the 49ers. Josh Doxson, best known for being a failed receiver, really, is sitting out. Malcolm Pridgeon is a guard for the Browns. He's sitting out. Rashawn Melvin, cornerback for the Jaguars. And a lot of these guys just signed a deal, too, with their new teams. Now, Brad Seaton, a tackle for the Buccaneers, he's sitting out. Lucas Nyang, tackle, sitting out. Albert Wilson, receiver, sitting out. Roland Milligan, safety for the Colts. Marvin Tell, corner for the Colts. Sam Beal, corner for the Giants. Russell Bodine, center for the Lions. So far, I haven't really seen a name that's like a oh my. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no oh my moment from that. So, Travis Benjamin next. He's already got a better name so far. He's going to opt out. Just, yep, opt out. Pretty sure he just signed. He's with the 49ers. Colby Gossett, a guard for the Browns, sitting out. Okimi Aligua, linebacker for the Raiders, sitting out. Marcus Gilbert, tackle for the Cardinals, sitting out. Alan Hearns, wide receiver for the Dolphins, sitting out. Sky Moore, Colts, sitting out. Andrew Billings, defensive tackle for the Browns, sitting out. So far, a lot of interesting players sitting out. No one too high profile, but there's been some interesting people as you get. All right, just trying to make sure I'm looking at the chat occasionally as well. As I've said before many a times, I can look on my screen, but that's more Facebook. It might even be doing YouTube for all I know. So I have to pull up the other, or Twitch on my phone. But DJ Killings, defensive back for the Raiders. Jeremiah Valoga, defensive end for the Raiders, also opting out for this year. Jordan Lucas, safety for the Bears, opting out. He was planning to be a backup. Josh Harvey Clemens of the Washington football team, also opting out. Jawan James, tackle. Christian Miller, linebacker. Geronimo Allison, wide receiver for the Lions. Damari Scott from the Giants. Olowale. I don't know why I can't say his first name. I know Olowale, fullback. Matt Lacrosse, tight end. EJ Gaines, corner, which is a big one for the Bills. Laurenti McCray for the Jaguars. CJ Mosley will be a big one for the Jets. Marquise Lee could be a big one for the Patriots wide receivers. Chandler Brewer, tackle. Al Woods, defensive tackle. Isaiah Price, tackle. Josh Tupou, defensive tackle. John Adkins, defensive tackle. Damian Williams was a big one, running back for the Chiefs. Drew Forbes, guard. Drake Dorbeck, tackle. Nate Solder, tackle. So right now we're seeing a lot of linemen, receivers, defensive backs. Devin Funchess for the Packers. Jason Vander Laan, tight end for the Saints. Jordan Mack for the Panthers, linebacker. Kind of curious. I thought he was the one for... Oh, of course it... Undo that. I don't want to close it. I wanted to see who it was. Well, I'm pulling up who Jordan Mack is, which I think it's just... No, not the same person. Okay. I thought it was someone else. It's not, so it's all good. Leo Kalamatangi, lineman for the Jets. Marquise Goodwin for the Eagles. Michael Pierce, defensive tackle for the Vikings. Star Latulele, Bills. Eddie Goldman, Bears, defensive tackles, both of them. Anthony McKinney was a big one, tackle. Titans. Patrick Chung, safety for the Patriots. Cole Wick, tight end for the Saints. Eddie Vanderdos, defensive tackle for the Texans. Kyle Pico, defensive tackle for Broncos. I'm going to scroll. Deontay Hightower, Patriots. Brandon Bolden, running back. Marcus Cannon. Danny Vitale. Nahi Torin. Man, just Chance Warmack was a big one. DeAnthony Thomas is a minor player. And then there's a guard, Laurent Tavernier Tardif. So let's just start with what's obvious about all these names. All these names are either the linemen or they're going to be a receiver, a corner, defensive back. Didn't really see a lot of big names, you know what I'm saying? There were some, mostly Patriots. There's some receivers who might have been past their prime, you know. But looking at it, all in all, no one big decided football isn't for them. So if you're getting paid, they're playing. I will say I'm surprised by the few who just signed contracts and are sitting out. I'm not surprised that they're sitting out. I'm surprised. I guess I don't know how their contract then works. Does that mean they have to wait a year? They're really signing a 2-year contract? There's a lot of that with this opt out. There's not a lot of clarity on. I know you get so much of the percentage, you get so much of this or that, but how does that play into the players? Now we did talk about a few weeks back all the NFL teams where we think they're going to be, how things are going to play out, and of course after that everything. People were traded, people were signed. It happens. But let's transition to the sport. Once again, we all know I love basketball. Be nice to have sound effects. Be nice to have anything really. Switch it over to host Biro real quick. So, in basketball, we've been a week. Still no positive tests, which is great here. So we'll talk. Man, you know. Anyways, so there's been a week of the bubble. And there's been 5 players ESPN has decided to choose as your first ever best stars so far for the bubble. One of which, Devin Booker. So, it wasn't this year. I'm pretty sure it was last year. Because I know I haven't done it this year. So, last year in 2K, I did a GM mode. I didn't broadcast it, of course. But, so I had it. Biggest thing. Excuse me. I was the Suns. Prevented them from moving because for some reason the game likes to threaten moving to Seattle the last 2 years. Devin Booker, of course, this in real life year is averaging 30 points a game. He's being very efficient. He's 50, 40, and 90. He's trying to do that. So what 50, 40, and 90 is 50% from 2, 40% from 3, 90 from the free throw line. It's a very rare feat. I don't know if anyone's actually done it. I know Steph Curry's been very close. Very, very close. Now, with the current bubble rules about the playoffs, since he has his team 3-0 out of the 8 games already, he could shock the world and make the playoffs. Everyone's pretty sure in the West the first 7 are going to make it. It's that eighth seed that's under threat and duress. But another player on another team vying for that eighth spot, Damian Lillard. I mean, his name's not surprising being on here. He is pushing his team to get there. Oh, excuse me. The guy is averaging 11 assists, tied with Luka Doncic. But here's the biggest thing. The man guarded Jason Tatum. He also guarded James Harden. He is shutting these guys down as much as he can. Now, probably the biggest, I won't say blunder, but the biggest surprise name on this list is probably TJ Warren. So, if you don't know TJ Warren, he used to play for the Suns. He was a very good player, could average 20 points a game. Was more of a 18 through 15 points per game guy. The Suns literally just handed Warren's contract to Indiana. He's 26. The Pacers won their first 3 games in the bubble. The guy has 39.7 points per game right now and making 65% of his shots. But here's the thing. The guy just had a career high. I believe it was 54. I'm going to confirm it here real quick. The guy just had a career high 54. $53. I was off by 1. The guy just had 53 points, which is crazy. He's still 26 young. He's built. He's been shooting 3-pointers very well. It's amazing how he's been playing. I mean, our fourth guy on this top 5 list, of course, Pascal Siakam. The guy's just been on fire. He started last year, and this year he just embraced taking over. He's just that much better. We knew he would be good. And of course, our fifth and final is another name. He's been very good, and we shouldn't be surprised. Joel Embiid. Taking those Sixers to places unknown. It's very fascinating. And I'll be honest, one of the things I'm not surprised by is the... Oh, excuse me again, man. I'm not surprised by the Pelicans. They're kind of free falling right now. They win, but then they lose. And then they win, then they lose. Zion's just been here and there. He hasn't really played. He's been monitored, and I think that's the biggest thing hindering him and the team. But here's the West right now. The West, you of course got the Grizzlies in 8th. They haven't been able to put it together. And right behind them, 1 game back, is the Trailblazers. Behind the Trailblazers, you have the Suns. Then you have the Spurs, Kings, Pelicans. All these teams are within 2.5 games. It's crazy, man. 2.5 games. I think the Trailblazers will do great. I think the Suns are very interesting, though. The Grizzlies got to lose the spot, though. they have every indication that they're not ready, but man, it would be interesting to see the Suns battle for playoffs. The Suns being a team that has just been struggling to find it. The fact that they're there right now is interesting. If we go to the East, though, you got your Nets, you got your Magic. They'll probably stay in the hunt. They'll probably stay in the playoffs. And you got the Wizards, and the Wizards, they haven't been doing good. They're back a total of 7.5 games. I think you have to be within 2 or 4 to battle for the playoff spot. And it's only 8 and 9, of course. So just no way. I just don't see the Wizards battling back right now. So let's talk about something very interesting to me that's not commonly talked on this show. And that's Marty Jannetty basically coming out saying, I murdered someone. So if you guys don't know who Marty Jannetty is, Marty Jannetty is Shawn Michaels' partner from the 1980s. I love how things just randomly move on my screen. There we go. But Marty Jannetty blatantly came out, I believe it was yesterday. So crazy. I don't know why he had to spark a murder investigation. He hasn't been relevant really in years. But here's what he confessed. He's like, I was 13, working at Victory Lane's bowling alley, buying weed from this guy that worked there, and he put his hands on me. He dragged me around the back of the building, and you already know what he was trying to do, he says. That was the very first time I made a man disappear. They never found him. They should have looked in the Chattahoochee River like, oh man. But next, he goes on saying, but Winnie, the girl in these pictures, I likes you so much, probably my favorite, but I promised myself way back then nobody would ever hurt me again. That includes you. I loved you, but you hurt me with your Jamaican jealousy. You can go your own way. I don't need you. But all I can say is, dude is out here saying, hey, I murdered this person. Why don't you come investigate me? I haven't been relevant in a hot second. Excuse me. But again, most famous for teaming up with Shawn Michaels on what was called the Rockers. It was the most popular tag team in the 80s, early 90s. Of course, everyone remembers the name Shawn Michaels. And everyone, if you ever join the sport of E-Fed wrestling, everyone wants to be a Shawn Michaels. Nobody wants to be a Marty Jannetty. So what happened to Marty after they split with the famous barbershop scene where Shawn Michaels super kicks Jannetty through a window? Jannetty went on to be an Intercontinental Champion and a Tag Team Champion. Shawn Michaels, on the other hand, World Heavyweight Championships, just a lot more accomplishments now. Why is this being brought up on Biro Sports Talk? It's because when a national radio station is talking about it for sports, generic sports, I feel like I should talk about it. Now, granted, my the show I watch do talk about wrestling occasionally. But man, is the world weird that we live in now. So, Major League Baseball, because we got 5 minutes. Let's talk some baseball. So, this year is different because it's just different. Let's just leave it at that. Start with the obvious. So, the obvious this year is playoffs. There's going to be a lot of teams in playoffs in baseball. A lot of teams in baseball. Oh my goodness. I want to see. They don't have it there. It's already been weird because if you look at the standings, you have teams that are 2-3, teams that are 2-4. Excuse me, teams that are like 5-1. But if we're going by league, the Yankees, the Twins, the Athletics, they're doing very well for themselves. Now, each league or division, sorry, each division also gets their second place team into playoffs. So you got the White Sox, the Astros, and the Orioles. Orioles of all teams. Blue Jays right there as well. Then you get two wild cards, which right now would be Central teams, Indians, Tigers. Indians are right there. Tigers, I'm kind of surprised they're in it. But they're 500, and that's what matters. For the National League, you got your Cubs, you got your Rockies. Marlins are right there, but that's because they're 5-1 and haven't played all these games. Then your second place, which are the Dodgers, the Braves. Pretty sure looking at this, Bruins would be next. And then your two wild cards would be the Padres and the Nationals. Very interesting, actually. I find it very fascinating. All these teams getting to be in the playoffs, everything. It's just so weird, man. It's so hard to focus on that. Looking at the American League, it does show Indians, Astros, and Tigers. Very, yeah. But it's going to be a weird year in sports. We got high school sports that probably won't have any fans. Can you imagine high school sports without any fans? Can you imagine your mom and dad not being in the stands? I know there's people out there that's experienced that, but to have no fans. I also don't know how the marching bands are going to work. It's going to be crazy, man. Crazy, 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 crazy. As we're coming to a close, of course, because like I said, I like to do 30 minutes. It's just what I've decided to do. I would love to go longer, I really would. But the real truth of the current situation we're in is there's not a lot to talk about still. I mean, yeah, baseball's back, basketball's back, hockey's back. We haven't even talked about hockey today, but that's okay. There's not much to talk about. MLS just is getting close as well. But what can we take away from today? I suppose. Make tomorrow better. One thing I will say, I know this disease is real. I know it's all of this is just a crazy time to be living in. I love being able to still be able to play sports. It's something I just greatly love doing. Would love to be coaching as well, but obviously those cards haven't fallen in place as I'm sitting here in front of you tonight. Even though tonight might be a dead night for this show, I don't see anyone popping on, trying to talk a little longer, see if other people tune in, because, oh, let's be honest. I want as many people to at least give us a look. I would love to broadcast games eventually. But I've always been a person that wants to be needed versus going out of my way. It's just who I am, it's just how it's always been. And I'll be honest about that. Oh, I guess I'll see what that is later. Well, on that note, once again, this has been Biro Sports Talk. Hashtag Biro ST. Excuse me, man. KFC not sitting well tonight. But that's okay. Hashtag Biro ST. Now, some of you may be wondering what happened to all these other things. Let's try to see if this could show me what this is. I think it will. Nope. Alright. I'll check it out later. But as I was saying, some of you are probably wondering, hey, where's this? Where's that? Hey, look, I have 2 viewers now on Twitch, which is nice. I'm a little surprised it didn't show it before. Facebook, we do have a bigger following on Facebook, which is why I like to mention it a lot. We are hashtag 313 and counting. We have a big following, which is just a way of me saying I'm going to invite everyone I know. Eventually, at least. And of course, there's YouTube, but honestly, that platform's kind of dead for us. It's kind of dead for a lot of people, but that's okay. It's okay. Thank you for those who have tuned in. I know this past weekend we didn't do any retro gaming. I can't promise any this weekend, only because personally, I have a porch to build. Man, I gotta build a porch with my brother, as our current porch is a little dangerous. I'll say it that way. It's a little dangerous. But thank you all for those who have tuned in, who's liked the video. If you have liked the video, if you're on Twitch, give me a follow. If you're on Facebook, give the page a like. The page needs a like for me to do better. Since this is Twitch, also, that's where the followers come in. I need followers to become an affiliate. YouTube, just be you guys. I would appreciate if you would comment or like the video on YouTube, but I don't know how many of you there are. So, once again, thank you for tuning in. For those who have, I did go over like I kind of wanted to. I kind of wanted to go over. I'm hoping to incorporate some more content for this eventually. The gaming side of it for the Twitch, mostly. We'll see. Like I said, retro gaming was the way I went. More modern stuff's not. Wow. Modern stuff wasn't necessarily the plan right away because there's not an easy way to go about it. So, thank you, and I will see you next time on Biro Sports Talk.